Welcome to your seat at the table. I'm Rick, and this is second edition Forgotten Realms. Actually, I think this is first edition. I stand corrected. First edition Forgotten Realms for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Waterdeep and the North by Ed Greenwood. They had put out a huge box set for Waterdeep. It was like $90 in early 90s money. I just couldn't justify paying for it. I dearly wanted it so bad, but I couldn't bring myself to spend $90 for it. And of course, hindsight, I wish I had. They also had a second box set that was called Under Mountain that took place in the depths beneath Waterdeep, which was quite expensive, and I wish I had the means at the time to buy, and I, of course, didn't. So what I did get was a handful of supplements and adventure modules set for Waterdeep. So what it did was it gives me enough flavor to understand the city outside the novels, because that's one of the most prominent cities in the Forgotten Realms setting. Yeah, excuse me. Still working on this diet. Excuse me, zero sugar, Pepsi Zero. It's got to be bloody cold, or it won't. I just got out of the freezer a little bit ago, and it's holding up kind of. We're doing all right. Anyway, Waterdeep and the North, and so we come with this somewhat. I mean, you can use this as a as your dungeon master screen if you wanted to. What we got here is a crude connection to the city sewer system and selected representation floor plans for buildings in Waterdeep, so you got some range. Shows the city wards at Waterdeep: Castle Ward, Sea Ward, North Ward, City of the Dead, Trade Ward, Southern Ward, and Dock Ward. And then of course a nice little map of the city itself. Then we get into the item itself. The guts of this was produced in what year? It says 1987. So this would have come out 2 years after I graduated. I'd have been going. That would be the year I turned 20, 1987. And I was divorcing my ex-wife, or making my first wife my ex-wife. It was a horrible year. Anyhow. We got how to use the book, introduction to the North, introduction to the city of Waterdeep, the city wards, life in the city, the guilds and factions of the city, noble families of Waterdeep, selected non-player characters of Waterdeep, beginning a campaign in Waterdeep, and adventures in Waterdeep. So, like I said, you couldn't. This was the poor man's version of the box, right? So, how to use the book, introduction to the North, trade and travel in the North. Berlin's Hill, Siddle Adbar, a bunch of locations and stuff. One of the things that the setting made that a lot of GMs tended to ignore or forget was just how far north these, like Waterdeep, was set. So in the wintertime, winter can be brutal. So travel and adventure in the wintertime can be extremely challenging. And that's when we talk about expanding your campaigns, and where a lot of which some people say is unnecessary crunch comes into play, is when we have a setting and we decide we have an adventure we are going to go on, hell or high water. And it's the depths of January, and it's sub-zero, damn near sub-zero temperatures out there with howling winds and snowstorms and blizzards that can open up and drop on you on a whim. In the era of when you don't have radio and weather radar or any of that stuff, you just take your chances. Not to mention that half the roads and almost all the paths and stuff are going to be buried in snow and ice and other kinds of problems. I mean, consider all that. Taking an adventure, your group going on a adventure in the dead of winter. How much more challenging would that be for them? Not only they got to deal with the events of the adventure, but they're dealing with the elements and the weather itself, and that's probably their primary foe for a good chunk of their time. And this goes hand in hand with a number of other videos we've done not too long ago. It's just kind of thing that kind of popped out. What do you do kind of stuff. And I bring that up because one of the adventure that's set back here actually takes place in the wintertime in Waterdeep, when those very roads are closed in and travel almost comes to a complete halt. And you find this is where adventurers think about that for a minute too. It was quite common back in the day, and I mean go way back, quite common for your your army, your local lords to get into tiffs and they go fight each other. But they tend to fight each other in off seasons. What I mean by that is they don't fight in the spring and they don't fight during harvest. They don't they don't purposely go out of their way to cause problems when it's time to get the grounds planted and get everything ready for the summer. And then the campaign season would open up, and then they would all go home to bring the harvest in and settle in for the winter, because winters would be harsh and brutal back in those, much harsher and much more brutal than anything we can imagine in our current, plush modern era, unless you're a poor person. And I bring that up once again because I've been there. When I grouse about it, but my wife and I spent 2 winters in a really old RV with shitty heat. The RV's heated system itself did not work. So the first year I used a kerosene heater, and we held the kerosene all winter, and it got the entire inside of the roof all smoky, and I never could get it cleaned off. The second winter we bought one of them big buddies, and man, it helped. The downside with it is when things start getting like 10 below and the wind's howling, even those don't work, and we would have to turn the engine on the truck and let the RV engine run and add that extra heat to the cabin, shut it off for couple hours, reheat, back and forth. And then at nighttime when you go to bed, you turn all your heat sources off, so you were a fool if you went to bed with a kerosene heater going, or one of these propane heaters going, that are just sitting there. That's just acting to die. So we would shut them off. And that meant getting up the extremely, extremely cold conditions early in the morning. And that's a challenge in all circumstances. Think about running a campaign like that. Just think about it, because you want, talk about players who want to, some low-level characters who are advanced-level players. That's the kind of campaign. That's the kind of challenges you can toss at them to get somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So we get to Chapter 2, an introduction to the city of Waterdeep, a brief geography of Waterdeep itself, the history of Waterdeep. Now in the news, crime and punishment. Things about how the government works, who's running things, who's in charge, what they do, breaks them all down, how it lays out, our codes, our legal codes, taxes and fees, guild laws, all stuff that a GM would want to know for backstory that would have absolutely no bearing whatsoever for the player. So some people would argue, well, that's unnecessary fluff or unnecessary crunch. But is it? Is it unnecessary, or does it help set the underlying foundation for everything else? Sometimes having the information, knowing it's there, is as important as utilizing it. Think on that for a second. All right. So, trials and bribery, debts, slavery, thievery, city wards. Chapter 3 is the city wards. Talks about some buildings, various class types: Class B, Class C, Class D. Class A, right? The palace being a Class A. Castle Ward, Sea Ward. Then we got some random places like the Red Owl Tavern, the Blue Jack Tavern, House of the Fine Carvers, Headquarters Guild for the Fine Carvers. We go to the Sea Ward, Pilgrim Rest Inn. Lots and lots of inns and taverns here. Most of them that's listed. And then we got a bunch of noble family villas at the docks. Tower of Luck, Temple Company. All right, so you get the idea, right? This is nothing compared to what I heard that the original box set for Waterdeep offered, and even that pales in comparison to the ancient Judges Guild versions of the city-state of the World Emperor and the city-state of the World Overlord and Tarantus. I've done videos on them. They're on my channel. Go look them up. That is classic cityscape in an urban setting. I mean, once again, you got a group of sophisticated, fairly advanced players, regardless of what character levels they start out at. Those people already have some expectations. An urban setting is an awesome campaign for that sort of stuff, because there's so many wheels within wheels things that you can participate in, things that can go on, and that it can have no bearing whatsoever on their adventure. And when you talk about sandbox or an open setting, I'm just saying, man, you really, really can't go wrong. If you've not run an urban campaign, I'm not talking a session, I'm talking a bloody campaign. It matters. Especially, just take for a moment, your characters group, your PCs are operating out of a city, any city, let's say Waterdeep for whatever, and they have their what do you want to call it, hideout or safe house or mansion, whatever. Let's just say they have a villa there in the dock ward at Waterdeep. So now they're landowners in a city, which means they have responsibilities as landowners in the city. Not just being adventurers, but now they're paying taxes. They're employing people to keep their place, you get where I'm going with it. It gets to be more complicated. They also now suddenly have skin in the game. Now they are invested in the city and what goes on. So if things go south or things get chicanery, it might be to behoove the players to become involved and to decide it themselves. That's the key, these days. We want to go into the proactive role play. We want the players to drive the bus. All the GM needs to do is sit back and hang on, right? That's how this should go. Sewer encounters table for Waterdeep, the sewers of the city, known sewers of Waterdeep, implying that there are unknown sewers. Sewer features, surface references, right? Once again, the print is so damn tiny in these books. No wonder my eyesight's gone south. Chapter 4, life in the city, religion, money. Selected usual prices for goods and services in Waterdeep. Money lending, fences. It doesn't help that I'm tired. I worked till 2 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, and then I come home. I got up around 8 o'clock, took a nap in the afternoon, and I was just dragging feet the whole day. I just was. And then I get up this morning and it's just repeat. Went to the shop, mowed up there, did a video for RPG a Day for 2024, and for my one of the Facebook groups that I'm a member of. And then finished mowing up there, and the wife cleaned the office. And then I went out and did two little punky jobs because both those customers absolutely insist on Sundays. So I managed to bring them together on the same damn Sunday, so I can just go get 2 done. Kind of sucks. Then I got the rest of the day off, but here I am trying to do videos in the afternoon when I dearly would have loved to have taken a nap. So I'm starting to get a little headache. That's what matters. Right. Wintering in Waterdeep, night out in the city. I start rambling about this point because most people aren't watching the video all the way through. If you're one of the rare few people that watch my videos from front to back, God bless you guys. Really, God bless you for putting up with my crap. Dress and appearance, manners. Then we have Chapter 5, guilds and factions of the city. Factions, the red sashes, the guilds. Then we break all the guilds down into much more detail. All right. Etc., etc., etc. We got... Okay, it's just shadows. We planted morning glories on a trellis right outside this window, so now they're getting filled in, and the wind's kind of whipping and making some movement. I'm like, I'm thinking there was something out there. It was one of the rare Sundays that I've actually got the room to myself. I have no cats in here, right? We let Missy out 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. She's been probably a month and a half now. She's been basically out in the front room. She's been very good. She makes no effort to make a run for the door. Not that we're making any chances. I don't know that we could get her back in the house if she got out. I've got a couple cats like that. They're better off in here. That's what I'm getting at. But she's out there and she just sits on my table out there right next to my chair almost all the time. And except when she comes over and wants attention from me, she doesn't like the wife that much, but she likes me anyway. So we put her out there, and then a couple gray and white mama, we call her. We don't know if she's a mama. She is gray and white. She's the one that showed up a couple years ago, and her mouth was froze over because she drools. She has some bad teeth on one side, and they're missing and rotted, and some other problems. And she managed to, she got it in her garage, and then she was 3 days up in the loft, and she couldn't eat, she couldn't drink. Finally, she came down, and the wife managed to bring her in here. We got her, because she wouldn't let you touch her. We got her in here, thawed her out. She spent better part of almost a year in here, 8, 9 months. There's a lot of videos I did. Mama was in the background somewhere, usually hiding. were in the box over here. And so now that Missy's okay enough to be out there with the other cats, we started putting Mama back in here when we're not home or at night, because we have two cats that just pick on her something terrible, and I do not know what the problem is. And then Frankie doesn't like her either. Frankie hisses at her and runs from her, but Sissy and Cece actually mess with her. They will challenge her and go at her, chase her up into a hidey hole somewhere, and that's kind of wrong. So Chapter 6, Noble Families of Waterdeep. We get a breakdown, a little bit of headings. You can see how many of them there are. Lots and lots of them. We get Chapter 7, Selected Non-Player Characters of Waterdeep. Right? Yeah, Hayam and Hal Utrace and Zanzibar and Loreen, the Capellan, Fleurmeister. Distinguished, tall, thin, bearded, white-bearded wizard lives alone in the house, right? All right. Metro Harple, that guy's a character. Seriously, that guy's a character. He shows up in one or two novels that I want to say Stackpole wrote. You know, as part of the Drizzt Du Arden series. Oof. Just saying, Alton Harples or something else. Yeah, you wanna throw a wrench into anybody's campaign in a Forgotten Realms setting, drop a wandering Harple or two in their path. Chapter 8, beginning a campaign in Waterdeep. Right. And Chapter 9, Adventures in Waterdeep. The Shadow Strike. Oh wait, no, I was thinking. It must have been that other supplement, because I got a second one on Waterdeep, I'm pretty sure, and it was talking about wintering in Waterdeep. Anyway, so Forgotten Realms. I don't know how. Oh, by the way, Ed Greenwood's got a channel. If y'all have not seen Ed Greenwood's channel for this stuff, and you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons or Forgotten Realms or fantasy settings at all, you really should go check out his channel. And I will try to remember to put a link below. If I forget, somebody please remind me to post one. His channel, it's very interesting, entertaining, and informative, in my opinion. What crappy that opinion goes. Anyhow, for some reason, I do not know why, I have two of these. I actually have a second one of these out on the shelf. Right? And I don't know why or how. I'm not even sure what I could do if it's. I don't know if these are if it would be worth selling one of these things on the internet or not. Anyway, I might get desperate enough for money. It could be worth my effort to try. And I hate to say it, but I get desperate for money way too much this past 2 years. It's been very bad. Anyway, I'm Rick. You're not. There's no kitties in here to introduce or to whatever for. For the entire house full. Yeah, let's see. I got Squeaky, Frankie, Sissy, Cece, Doofus, who's not doing so hot, Thumper, who's also not doing so hot. We got, what am I missing in the house? Oh, Missy, the new one. Mama, not so new. Now we're at 8. Then we have, am I missing somebody else in the house? We got Calico in the garage, and Lily in the garage, and then her brother Mittens. So right now in the garage there are 5 cats, and there are 6 living in the house. So 11 cats, and it's like $70-80 a week in cat food and cat litter. That is no joke. That is true. That is serious. I have had a few weeks when things were real tight. And there's no hours, or the money is just it won't go very far, where they always get fed. They come before our food budget, right? And sometimes it bothers me to admit that we have to go to the food pantry. My wife goes every 2 weeks. I'm told we could go every week if we wanted to go to a different location as well. The sad part is, have you been to a food pantry in your area recently? Have you had to utilize a food pantry at any time in your life? The food pantry's here in Iowa. This is ironic because we're in the frickin' breadbasket of the bloody country. The breadbasket of the frickin' world. We feed the world. The state of Iowa feeds 100 times its population every year. And yet you go into the food pantries they're so overrun by people in need. There's not much there. We get bread that's considered 2-day-old bread that the stores cast out, and we're grateful to get it. And there's usually a variety of that stuff. That stuff comes in every day. There's generic canned goods, but how much canned corn and canned green beans can you eat? Things have to be extremely dire if that's your entire diet for a day is based off of canned vegetables. And yet there are people that do. And things that show up in there, it's just it's stark. I mean, I feel bad because we're not totally destitute. I mean, we're not losing the house or nothing like that, but I'm always paranoid of the next thing. I mean, it is what it is. Just is. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. Welcome to my world. It sucks as hell some days. Anyway, I'll break. You're not. Be grateful for